Good day, America. My name is Bishop Lorenzo Crawford, and I thank God for allowing me to be here to make this TV show. And I pray that this show will be a blessing, inspire, enrich, maybe encourage somebody to continue, or somebody to allow God to let them into their lives. We're going to talk today about some of the current events and dealing with the people in this generation. One thing I realize about the young people, they are confrontational. We know that the police, well, we assume that the police is biased or prejudiced. But if you assume that, why would you want to edge them on? My suggestion is try to get along with them, and when they pull you over, maybe you can kind of humble yourself, if I can use that word, and let them do their job. If you allow them to do their job, they'll be on their way. And we got situations where the police is overzealous, police is pushy and so forth, and say mean words. But the thing about that is, you got to understand that the city, the county, the state hired them to do a job. And they teach them how to deal with the public. And the public is you. And if you be confrontational, then they're going to rise up and be confrontational. But if you can kind of humble yourself, maybe you can get out of that situation without confrontation. You can get out of that situation without going to jail or getting arrested or without even a ticket. The problem is we want to confront them and let them know they don't have a right, and when they do have a right. America, Africa, African Americans, Black Americans, Negroes, or whatever you want to call yourself, you got to remember, they have the right to pull you over. They have the right to stop you. And you need to realize their rights over your rights. They got the gun. And they got all of America, all the state, the county, the city, backing them up. And first of all, you was in the right. You was in the wrong, perhaps, when they pulled you over. And then some of you may not have been in the wrong. But being confrontational is not going to fix it. Being confrontational is not going to ease the situation. In fact, being confrontation will escalate it, because now he's going to be on his defense because he's the law. And our young people must realize that he is the law. And we cannot continue to encourage our young people to go against the law. And they got the right. Let's not be so confrontational, young people. And maybe you can get back home safe and sound. We are dealing in a time that just this anger issue, this rage, it got this the people on the expressway, that motorist rage. They looking for some type of battle where they don't know who they want to fight, but they want to fight. And we want to fight the police, and as soon as something go wrong, we expect the police to come by and to arrest and to do something on our behalf to help us. Instead of that mentality, why don't you accept the police as who they are, servants, and they're there to serve, whether to serve you or to serve the city. If they serve in the city, they're going to serve you that ticket. You be confrontational, they're going to serve something else. So that's what you got to focus on, is letting them do their job. And that way they can move on, give you a ticket, and you can move on to your life. If you think you're in the wrong, by being confrontational, it's not going to fix it. If you think they put their hands on you the wrong way, not being confrontational is not going to fix it. Because you already noticed. You just seen it on TV. You just heard it on the radio. And some of you been to court with the police, and the city, the county, the state, the federal, all of them sided with the police. They on their side. So if they're on their side, what are you to do? You are not to be confrontational. That way you can come out that thing alive. Because it don't do no good you somewhere in the morgue. But you was in the right. Everybody say, hey, you was right and they was right and the police was wrong. Yes, the police probably was wrong. But you in the morgue. And he's at home with his family. Think about it. Is that what you want to be, in the morgue? Or you want to be in the police station and they planted some drugs on you and you do 4 or 5 years before they find you to be innocent? A lot of things can go wrong. So when you're in their hands, try to be a little bit more patriotic concerning the police, because you're definitely going to need them. You're going to need them because when things go wrong in your life, you're going to call the police. And you're going to ask for their help. Some complain, well, they took too long. Or they did this, or they did that. But let's not be so judgmental and dogmatic concerning the police. Remember, they got families too. They want to go home. And if they hurt somebody or shoot somebody or kill somebody, they got to take that home. Every police is not out and don't have a vendetta against you as an African American, black, Negro. They don't have a vendetta against us. They want to go home to their family without problem, without controversy. But that's not in the real world. They're going to meet some of the young people, and the young people are going to give them a hard time. So what you need to do is humble yourself a little bit and let that man or that woman, that officer, do their job. And you make them go home. And don't worry about being somewhere in some morgue, but you're right. Because I hear mama say, my baby didn't do that. Your baby probably didn't do nothing. But baby could have been confrontational or could have dealt with it different. I have children. And when my children get in a squabble or scrape or brawl, first thing I ask my children, could have been averted? Could you have dealt with it differently? And they think about it. It could have been dealt with differently. It could have been avoided. My children look at me because I try to make sense about it. And we got to make sense. Because all them young people, them police shooting down, they're in the morgue. So we need to teach them, know how to come back home. We need to teach them how to humble themselves and quit being confrontational and dogmatic, trying to get your way. Police pull you, what did I do wrong? You don't talk like that. You don't talk like that to your parents. And some of you may do. But some of the older people, if your parents is not teaching you the better way to how to express yourself, then you got some older people in your life that you can go to and they'll teach you how to deal with situations such as that. Because it's got to be dealt with. It's not all the police fault. We naming and we pointing the finger at the police. And sometimes we got to point the finger at ourselves. Sure, I got children. I don't want my children to be hurt and brutalized by the police. I don't want your children to be hurt and brutalized by the police. But I try to tell my children, conduct themselves in a fashion that's respectable to the police. That's his job. Give him a little respect. If he don't want, if he seems that he's on edge, cause he's a human. He's human. If he seems like that he don't want to work with you in that situation, then let him do his job. And then after he do his job, maybe you can say something. But say it in the spirit of humility and respect. Don't say it as though you control that situation, you control that environment, because you don't control it. When he pull you over, that's his environment. He got to control it. Okay, that's what he do. He serve, he protect, he got to control that environment. It can escalate. And that's what happens. Young people, he pull them over and then they want to be confrontational. They want to argue. They want to fight. And then you got somebody taking their cameras and taking some pictures. And the thing about the pictures and the videos don't see the whole thing. And some of them may do. They show the video how a police shot a man in the back and the man was running. So the videos show not the police shooting a man in cold blood. But could that man, when the police stopped, could he have stopped? He'd have been alive today. What about that man when they said that they grabbed him around his neck and they tightened the grip and he couldn't breathe? He died. Police could have been in the wrong in that. I wasn't there. But could that man could have did something to allow him to live? Some say he was selling something. Some say he was not. He was just standing there minding his own business. But whatever it was, he's dead now. He's dead. And we, as Americans, white and black, Mexicans, Chinese, Filipino, whatever, we got to come together. And we got to come together and we got to back the police up and teach our children to respect the police and let them do their job. Because you don't, many more children, when I say children, I'm talking about the young people, many more young people will be dead this year and next year at the hands of the police. And you got to remember, they backing the police up first. Police gonna prove themselves right, even though the cameras and everything else say he's wrong. He's got a job. He gonna do that job. And we as Americans, we got a job also. We got to tell our children, when the police pull you over, you show them some courtesy, you show them some dignity, and you show them some respect. And he might let you go without a ticket. But if you are confrontational, if you're contradictory, and anything else that's contrary, now he's going to be on his defense. Because he got to defend himself, plus do his job. And in his mind, and they teach us that African Americans are always confrontational. They teach that. And we are confrontational, and you know we are. So we got to teach our children to show some more dignity and respect to the police. And maybe, just maybe, they can come home and not be in some morgue and be right. Well, she was right. They arrested her. They put their hands on her. A man police supposed to call a lady police. And I hear that, and it may be true. But certain circumstances, some circumstances require the police to apprehend even a female when she's being belligerent, disrespectful, controversial. Some circumstances cause that male police he have to do something. And if he's asked you to sit in a car, and you say for what? He say, ma'am, please sit in the car. He don't have to say please. He don't have to say ma'am. Do what he say. Once you're in the car, you can ask him, what did you do wrong? You can ask him, how can you fix the situation? But disrespecting the police, male or female, is only going to hurt or escalate the situation, whereas somebody could get hurt or somebody can get killed. You don't want neither one of those, and you don't want it for your children. So we Americans teach our children to respect the police, to conduct ourselves in a fashion. That way we can go home. You've been out partying. You're at the nightclub and you drunk some. You know you a little bit, but you feel the police pulled you over for the wrong reason. Do what the police say so you can go home and not be in the morgue. I want you at home with your father, your mother, or whoever you with, whoever you live with. I prefer you to be home and alive than to be in somebody's morgue waiting for your family to claim the body. Now, if that is what you want, that's going to happen. But if you want to go home, then try to conduct yourself a little bit more respectful. I know sometimes we fly off the handle. I know that. And we're going to be people. But you got to remember who's in charge of that situation right there. That's what you got to remember. Who's in charge of that situation? And if the police pull you over, they're in charge. They're in charge. Be a little bit respectful, and he'll go on his way. I dealt with some police. They was prejudiced. I thought I could have been wrong. He could have just had a bad day, and he pulled me over. So he vent out on me. Everybody's a police. All white is not prejudice. Get that mentality out of your head and out of your heart, and try to see it their way. Try to see it their way. When police pulled me over, they said in that neighborhood or in that county, the police are very prejudiced. So I didn't take that into account. I just pulled over. And I know I'm not everybody. I was speeding, and he pulled me over. And we started talking. I said I was on my way to work. And he said, well, you was doing 15 miles past the speed limit. And he already had my license. I was sitting in the back of the car. I said, yes, sir. I probably was. But I'm sorry. Could you forgive me? Now, I know everybody don't talk like that. Everybody don't talk like that. But you can be a little bit more respectful. And when I said to that police officer, could he forgive me? He looked in the rearview mirror at me, and I looked at the rearview mirror at him. I looked at his eyes, because he wanted to see, was I serious about what I said? I said I was speeding, but could you forgive me? And he looked, like I said, and he looked at my ID, my driver's license. Then he looked at it again, the rearview mirror. Then he told me, slow down, sir. And I said, thank you, sir. Yes, sir, I will. I sure will. and he let me go. I was doing 15 miles past the speed limit. He was in his right. And I was a young man at the time. I was probably 24, 25 years old. So all black young men are not confrontational. So that's what I told him. And I'm sharing this because I'm a Pentecostal preacher. I love the Lord with all my heart. And I love people because God loves people. And he wants you to live. He don't want you to be dead. Whether you a Christian or not, it ain't God's will for you to be dead. He wants you alive. He wants you well. He wants you healthy. And that's his will. But like I said, those people, they don't hold those guns and those weapons in vain. They use them. They've been trained to use them. They've been trained to take you down. And sometime in the scrabble, on the scraffle, when they're taking you down, sometimes their hands may get around your neck because they're trying to pin you. They're trying to bring control to their circumstance. And sometimes they can't control the circumstance. And they got to do whatever it takes to bring you down. They're not going to let you, not going to get away. You're not going to get away. But if you will work with them, you may come out of that situation alive rather than dead. That's what you got to remember, America. We want our young people alive. So teach them how to conduct themselves in the presence of the police when they get pulled over. Maybe we can have a class. Maybe that'll be nice. To have a class to teach the young people how to conduct themselves when they get pulled over. I'm sure the police already have classes and stuff how to deal with the public. Maybe they need a class how to deal with African American kids. Because we are different from white kids. Our children are different. But we got to teach our children not to be confrontational. They want to go toe-to-toe with the police and they want to express their opinion. The police don't want you to talk. Keep your mouth shut. You can feel people out. You know if the police is on your side, or you know if the police seem like he on edge. How the kids, what's that word the kids say? He owns something. If you think the police got something on his mind other than pulling you over and trying to do his job, then you allow the police that space so he won't hurt you. Because I don't want you to be hurt, and I definitely don't want you to be dead. Somebody love you.